bank robberies, riots, streaking and littering. These are all things that would run rampant in our neighborhoods if it wasn't for your local police force.
Our hard-earned tax dollars made quick work of old Uncle Bobbert, who decided to strip down and cavort through the neighborhood for jollies. There are plenty of games that let you play as the police. Considering that my name is Officer Dan and all, I thought it would make sense to talk about games featuring the ones that carry the weight of the badge. But we must first arm ourselves with knowledge.
Police Quest. Video game publisher Sierra had a tendency to make adventure games with the word quest in them back in the day. King's Quest, Space Quest, Quest for Glory, Leisure Suit Quest, Conquests of the Long Quest, Phantasmagoria Quest, A Puzzle of Quest, Quest, The Great Questioning.
Okay, so maybe I was just having fun with the last few. It's not just the quest thing though, it's the sequels they managed to get out. I mean, at the time of making this, the King's Quest that's currently getting episodes is actually King's Quest 9. Anyway, I got us off track there. But one more thing. They didn't make Chex Quest. I guess they got beaten to the punch on that one.
The first 3 Police Quest games are the typical adventure game style that you'd expect for the time period they released at. Then 4 jumps into glorious full-motion video, or FMV for short. In the spirit of mostly covering the action-y side of police work, our first stop is here with 5, better known as SWAT.
And just to warn you right now, this is more of an interactive movie than it is a game.
This game is all FMV, and it's not easy to play, and there's 200 ways to do things wrong. It starts off with you sitting in a classroom getting your orientation for over 5 minutes, and then soon after that, a lecture on actual SWAT callouts and all that jazz.
Everyone, your attention please. Settle down and we can get started. Today we want to discuss use of force issues, cover the differences between stealth and dynamic entries, and review tactical communication techniques, the negotiation process, tactical plan formation. In the example I have here, you can see the bottom left corner is referred to as the 1-2 corner. Over 60% of all our call-ups are barricaded suspects.
This one goes on for 10 minutes, by the way.
Flashbangs are used at the point of entry to disorient a suspect or as a diversionary tool at separate entry ports.
Dude, that guy looks like the sound effects guy from Police Academy. This game gives you moments to raise your hand to ask questions in this part, and I love it because everything just freezes.
Clear rooms in a circular or L patterns. Questions?
Actually, yeah, I do have a question. Does this potato salad look right to you? I mean, salads are basically just lettuce and whatever else you throw in.
Are there certain room entry techniques we should employ?
Whether you enter a room under a dynamic or a stealth mode...
Never mind. You concentrate on your work, pal. I'm sure it's fine. Your mom's gonna love it!
Door or a room. Well, that's it. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. Dismissed.
So we're finally finished with the...
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me, what is that?
Please insert CD number 2, then press enter to continue.
Wow. Disc 2. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's weird. What's weirder to me is that this is a 4-disc game, and that is the only time it asks you for another disc like that.
Really, it turns out that the beep was us getting thrown into our first situation already. A father and daughter are outside of a house explaining that the mom of the family has gone kinda off the deep end.
She's holed up in the house. She won't come out, won't let me in. Like I told that other officer, she's been mixed up a lot lately. Ain't that so, Katie?
Okay, so in all this bit right here is what gets my attention.
Tell the officer.
My mom's always been real protective of our family, but it's different now. It's like she's not just protective, she's angry or paranoid or something. I don't know what. I think she's become dangerous.
The police are here and we have it under control. Please, explain why you feel like she's become dangerous.
She has a gun now and she shot at me and my dad this morning.
That's right. She damn near killed us, too.
All right. You almost died.
You're doing great with that, by the way. Despite her shooting at you, which I'm glad you're alive. You only think that she's become dangerous.
I bet you guys play pin the tail on the donkey with throwing axes at parties if you only think that now she's dangerous after almost killing her husband and daughter. So after that, you can walk around and talk to the other squad members and a neighbor about what's going on. Then you get a briefing on the layout of the house and who goes where and other details. Then you go for it. Okay, we got gun-happy grandma sighted around the corner of the house. But that's okay, you guys go inside anyway. I'll do this myself.
Police officer, Lucy, put the gun down. Put it down now.
Man, that's freaking dangerous. Classic rookie mistake. Here's how it's actually done.
Police officer, Lucy, put the gun down. Put it down now.
Turns out winning isn't actually that far from that.
Except if you use the flashbang, it kills her and you don't get a good ending. At any rate, she's mad enough to take her rage against Johnny Law. You answer back with your peacekeeper and you end up beating the mission the correct way.
Now, I need to mention that the missions in this game don't play out the same way every time. Grandma can appear in different parts of the property alongside you rolling with other squad members to take different routes. But that's enough of that. Moving on to something that's more of a game. Vroom vroom, honk honk, look, it says be a cop on the back of the thing.
Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 wasn't the first game in the series to feature the ability to act in the police car. It was specifically the PC version of Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit that did that. So yeah, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 is the sequel to Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. Naming convention aside, here's our Be the Cop mode. While it's a solid point of the game, it isn't necessarily the main event. While you get points to acquire things in this mode, you mostly do other stuff to unlock courses and cars. You get a set of turbo boosters to help catch up to these speedsters, as the game likes to call them. You also get to call in helicopters to drop stuff on the speedsters that makes them flip around like they got hit with a blue shell in Mario Kart, and spike strips, which, well, spikes them. Or, again, you could just do what I would do if I were them, and just ram them! It's not like the police car is my car, it's their problem. They can fix up a window or two at the cost of someone potentially hurting themselves, or other people racing recklessly through an island paradise.
It's a small price to pay for enforcing the law.
Dead to rights.
You have the right to remain dead!
This is a third-person shooter game where you take on the role of Jack Slate, a police officer that works in the K-9 unit with his dog, Shadow. Jack enters into the scene like only a man of action would do, only to find that his dad has been killed. Filled with zeal, he gets consumed with finding the dirtbag responsible. Anyone who stands in his way of that will find themselves filled with bullets. Of time, because the game has bullet time. Shadow can be summoned by scrolling through your weapons. He'll tackle the bad guys and bring back whatever weapon the enemy was holding to you. But upon seeing this, I realized that Jack would have had to have thrown shotguns around the beach instead of frisbees in order for him to get this result.
I didn't get a good first impression of Shadow because for some reason I didn't think he was even in the game. I thought he was some kind of ravenous wolf that represented the anger or lone wolf attitude of the main character. But then in the opening CG cutscene, he shows up and he's one of the cutest husky doggies you ever did see!
Or at least I thought he was a husky. There's a wiki page that says he's a Malamute. Woof woof woof. This game has really different controls. You're not so much aiming as you're using a lock-on system with a variety of different button presses. Only made stranger in my case, because I played this title with that giant OG Xbox controller made for an octopus. Besides that, it's gritty, filled with action cliches and funny acting, all of which I found to be quite entertaining. Also, when I was playing, this happened. I'm only going to talk about L.A. Noire briefly. The protagonist, Cole Phelps, is indeed part of the police, but he's a detective, and I wanted to cover more action-oriented roles of police work in this video. Regardless, Cole can be pretty passionate about his work, and there's a particular moment of that passion that you can see in the red lipstick murder case that is already a bit infamous on the internet, but I wanted to share it in my own way.
Please take a look.
Doesn't look good, Jacob. You're in a big jam here. You lie to me, and I can't help you out. Do you understand me?
Yes.
What do you do for work, Jacob?
I'm a mechanic. Engines, differentials, transmissions, that kind of stuff.
So you have access to tools?
Yes, I do.
Your wife was brutally beaten with a socket wrench handle, then stomped to death. How do you think that looks, Jacob?
I was home in bed.
You're full of shit, Jacob. The truth is you hated that bitch. You followed her and dragged her into the car and then took her out to the moors. She woke up and you smashed her face in with a socket wrench.
No. No, 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 no.
And then you stomped her. You stomped her because she's a drunken brush. And she treated you like shit. You stomped her for all the years you had to take it. You stomped her because you are such a weak sister, Jacob, and you wanted to erase all memory of it. Go on. Try to deny it.
I was at home. I should have gone to her at the bar, but I didn't. You can't prove I wasn't home.
Sorry. My mistake.
I love this guy's face at the end. Cole's mood has more swing than a teenage girl on one of those Viking ship rides. You're a loose, emotional cannon, Phelps.
Switching it up to something that's a little more lighthearted, there's Lego City Undercover.
Lego City is certainly my favorite of the Lego games. Not that I don't enjoy the franchise-backed games, it's just that this one is its own story and the environment is not only unfamiliar territory, but bigger as well. The traditional linear level structure is connected to an open world filled with things to discover. The humor in this game is especially fantastic.
Did you put those essential supplies on my desk? Yes, Chief! I'm going to my office.
I don't need to wait for a cutscene for this stuff either. Look, this guy has long pink hair and a huge brown beard. I first found him twitching on the ground for no reason, and just as I was about to leave, he decided to do a somersault into a concrete wall, also for reasons unknown. It's unfortunate that this game doesn't have co-op as the LEGO series of games typically does have, but it has grappling hooks!
The last game that I'm bringing up features an officer who was probably repeatedly told to sit up straight and work on his posture, but the guy doesn't have any bones in his body to be able to do such a thing.
This is Deputy Dangle. Fresh from acquiring the title of deputy, we quickly discover why he's more than enough for the job. He's strong, brave, great at catching uncooperative animals, sort of, and he's also a very talented pole dancer. I know the gameplay looks similar to a certain parent that you might know, but what makes the game different is the open city setting, where story objectives are placed throughout it, as well as shiny donuts. Look! This one was in a porta potty! The game's sense of humor is much more random, making your objectives that much more grandiose and absurd. But the really big thing that sets this game apart is that he gets a grappling hook! Look at it, it's awesome! They end up calling it a plunger gun, but in practice it's a grappling hook. Nothing else needs to be said!
Well, that was certainly a productive patrol in the world of police games. There's quite a few bad ones out there. But there's the few ones that I mentioned here today, and as well as other games covering the subject matter coming out in the near future. So, if that sounds good to you, then be sure to keep your eyes open. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna stereotypically eat this donut now.
To everybody that stopped by, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then you can let me know by liking it and subscribing. I have my Twitter linked in the description, and in case you didn't notice, I really kind of like grappling hooks, enough to do a video about them. Well, I guess that about does it for me this time. This is Officer Dan, reminding you to take it easy.